of death metal.
Ladies and gentlemen, metalheads around the world, welcome to Altars of Metal. Tonight is not just another episode. Tonight is a celebration of a genre that changed heavy music forever. A genre that took everything we loved about metal and pushed it into darker, faster, heavier territory, and then became a movement across the planet. This is our special Fathers of Death Metal, and I'm honestly grateful and a bit blown away to say that we're doing this with a lineup that reads like history itself. We've got David Vincent, the unmistakable voice and presence that helped define extreme metal for generations, known from his work with Morbid Angel, Terrorizer, ex-Morbid, Vltimas. David is one of the first names that comes up to your mind if you're talking about death metal. Hello David, Happy New Year, how are you?
I'm well, thank you, man. I'm glad to be a part of this roundtable. I haven't seen some of these guys in a while.
Yeah, great. Good to have you with us. We've got guitar legend James Muprhy, a player whose leads and tone are basically required listening for anyone who loves death metal and beyond. Known from his work with Obituary, Death, Testament, Cancer, his solo work as James Muprhy, Hallows Eve, Assassin, Agent Steel, Disincarnate, I can go on and on. Currently also on Living Monstrosity and so many other names. Hello, James. Happy New Year. How are you doing, sir? You're on mute, so you have to unmute yourself, and then we can hear you. Yep. Almost there. Do your magic. It's the microphone button on the bottom of Google Meet. We did all the tests.
He's not a singer.
Yeah. It's the first of
the little man in the canoe, James. The little man in the canoe.
You're gonna find it, man. You're gonna find it. Okay. On the bottom you have some buttons, as we're on Google Meet. The first one.
Cramp from laughing.
Down there.
Damn, I'm old.
We'll get it, guys.
Technology kills.
It is horrible.
Dude, it's the first button on below. No? You want to try and rejoin? You want to try and rejoin or something?
Button.
Okay, try and rejoin us, man. Okay, so we did the intro, so we're going to say hello to him again later. Right, Trevor Paris, responsible for riffs that have been punching holes in walls since day one. Okay, so can you hear us now? No, you're still on mute, man. You're still on mute. It's the button on the bottom. The first button. You will find it on your screen, man. Just go ahead. I'm going to present Trevor. We'll get back to you, man. So, as I was saying, Trevor Paris, responsible for riffs that have been punching holes in walls since day one. We all know him from the mighty Obituary, known as Executioner back in the early days in the mid-'80s, but also a member of Catastrophic and Meathook Seed in the past. Hello, Trevor. Happy New Year, and welcome back to Altars of Metal. Great to have you with us. How are you doing?
Appreciate it. Happy New Year. Appreciate it. It's good to be here.
Good to have you, man. From Atheist, the one and only Kelly Shaefer, a true pioneer who helped expand what death metal could be musically, also known from Till the Dirt and Neurotica, the man behind Atheist, the outcasts of death metal initially, to later on become a trademark in the genre by offering some jazzy, fusion, progressive elements and different ideas in death metal. Hello, Kelly. Happy New Year. Good to see you again. How are you doing?
Happy New Year to you as well.
Cheers,
and everybody
man.
out there. Hope everybody had a good New Year.
And last, but definitely not least, while James is
Always
trying...
least, man. Come on, give it to me.
While
Man,
James
I'm
is
the
trying
studio,
to
for
still
fuck's sake.
unmute himself, Rick Rozz.
He's available for production right now. He is.
Rick Rozz, a
He'll find the
name carved into the foundation
that
of
was
Florida death
fucking
metal,
terrible.
with riffs and stories that go right back to the beginning. Known as a founding member of Death, before they were called Death, when they were actually known as Mantas, along with Cam Lee and Charles Evil Chuck Schuldiner. Later on the legendary Leprosy album, but also from his work with Massacre. Known from his work with many other bands, now active with Left to Die. Hello, Rick. Welcome back to Altars of Metal. It's good to have you, sir. How are you doing today?
Frederick Donald DeLillo, glad to be here, man.
Yeah, good to have you, man. James, we're
Thank
still
you.
hoping you're going to find both the buttons to open the camera. Ah, man. We did the test. Everything worked fine. Okay. All right. So, and
He did call me. He was still in the middle of a solo.
Yeah.
let me also say hello to our audience, all the people who are watching us. Thank you guys for joining us tonight. Feel free to write in the comments where you're joining us from. Write your questions. I'm gonna try and have also my attention both in the comments and everything. And if I manage whatever I manage, I will also ask questions that you should. We might be a little bit picky, but go ahead and write your questions as well. So welcome everybody. I'm really excited to have you all here. Let me kick this off by asking you guys, when is it the last time you met each other? I mean, you know each other since a long time. When was the last time that you met each other here on the panel? I'm gonna start with Kelly.
So I see Trev all over the world. We run into each other like all different places. So I think probably specifically last time I saw you was at Maryland Death Fest, probably. But we live real close to each other as well. So sometimes we run into each other at local functions. David, I saw in Milwaukee at the Milwaukee Metal Fest recently. We met up in the pub and had a quick chat. And then Mr. Rozz and me haven't seen each other since 70,000 Tons of Metal. Which probably was, man, it's been 2019. It was right before COVID. And then Muprhy I see from time to time at shows in Tampa as well. So we run into each other. This community has always been really kind of intertwined, even though everybody sort of gallivants around the globe. And we run into each other at festivals and things like that. But we run into each other in local functions. David, you don't live in Florida anymore, so we don't see you unless we're on the road.
Yeah, well, I mean, at this point, everybody lives where they want to live. I look at these festivals in Europe and what have you as an opportunity to say hi to folks that I haven't seen in. So,
yeah, that's nice.
That works well.
Definitely.
Okay. He had to reboot his phone. It's unresponsive. We just talked, but you've got trouble. Otherwise, James, you're going to have to use another device, perhaps. I don't know if you have a laptop or something. Yeah, he's got trouble. The mic is unresponsive. The button is unresponsive.
Yeah, it's a great band.
Yeah. All right.
I love Trouble.
He's getting ready to record a solo or something anyway. So.
No, that's what he's doing right now. That's what's taking so long.
It's just funny that the guy that runs the studio can't find the button to hit the fucking.
Oh,
all right. There he goes.
Yay!
There he is.
Yay! All right.
Unbelievable.
All right.
Yeah, I could see the button. I wasn't having a problem seeing the button. It was just it was unresponsive. It was completely unresponsive.
It didn't like you.
You might need to go up on your prescription here a little bit.
2 blue pills. 2.
Yeah, it just did not like the feel of my finger, I guess.
Hey now.
So you're going to record a solo for us while we're.
You've been told that before.
No, I should have put it down. Now you wouldn't even be able to hear me if I did. These stupid microphones noise cancel. I've tried before. Yeah.
Oh shit! That sounds really technical. I can't even tune my guitar.
So I was just welcoming James. So James, welcome to the show. It's good to have you with us, man.
I'm good at computers.
Okay, we kicked this off with the first question. I mean, I'm trying to get each and every one of you to say when was the last time that you saw the other gentleman on this panel. So if you want, you can go ahead.
Oh man, I want to say that Dave, it was for David. It was quite some time ago.
Yeah.
I think when we were talking earlier, I said perhaps it was this Opeth show about 20 years ago, but I think it was more recent than that. I think I saw him at some show or other, probably in the 2010s. I was just remembering that we were hanging around at a sort of a table. I don't know if it was outside the backstage area or whatever, and we were chatting. So it's been, a good 15 years. Trevor, I see from time to time, around Tampa. I go to a show, and I've gone to some benefit things, and I can very occasionally run into Trevor. Sometimes at his barbecue stand. I've enjoyed that quite a bit.
Bravo.
I think the last time I ran into Trevor somewhere, I ate a bunch of his barbecue. And Rick, I saw at Left to Die show, and not that long ago, I think. Yeah, not that long ago. And Kelly, I don't know. It's where did I see you last, Kelly?
I saw you at the Death to All.
That's right. That's right. The Death to All show. That's
with
right.
Your lovely wife. With your lovely wife.
Yeah. She's at work at the moment. Sad that she's missing this, but considering how the first part went for me, I'm kind of glad she missed it. Oh man.
All right.
Is everybody else married? Is anybody else married?
Sorry, Kelly.
David, you're not married. David, you're not married, are you?
Sure am.
Are you? And Rick?
Yeah, for like 80 years, dude. You kidding me?
Holy
I'm
shit.
kidding. No, I'm not married.
Okay.
I'm on my second marriage, and we're separated. I've got a bunch of kids with him.
Yeah.
No, I have a girlfriend of 16 years and 7 fur babies.
Congratulations. 7? Oh, 7
and
fur babies. I was like, holy shit.
Turtle. Oh, yeah, dude. It's cool. It rocks, man. Kidding me?
That's great.
That's
great.
Kids?
Who else got kids besides nobody's got kids?
No, you
I don't have any kids. My wife has 3 from her previous marriage, and they're all great. They're great guys, and most of them play some sort of play an instrument like guitar and bass, and I think one plays drums. So
nice.
They're great kids. They range in age from 30 to 22. So they're they're older. They're not like living with us or anything like that.
You guys will appreciate.
We also have fur babies, quite a few of them.
Fur babies. Yes. At 49, I decided to have another baby. I like that silly shit. No, I'm a glutton for punishment. Now I have a little boy named Thor who just turned 9, and it's magical, man. It's actually I make jokes, but it's man, kids are so amazing, and especially at this age, like I didn't have kids till I was 38, so technically, starting a family. So having kids older is I have a different perspective, and it taught me a lot of patience and taught me a lot of things that I didn't learn earlier in my musical career. So I'm grateful for that little man. He's awesome. And my daughter Lily is 20. So yeah, kids are great. Amazing.
God bless you, Kelly.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah, man. It's crazy to me that Thor is that old. I remember when seeing your post about him when he was like 2. It seems like a few months ago.
It goes quick, man.
It's weird.
Crazy.
Time does fly.
Yeah, making the humanist got to be insane. I can't even relate to that. So,
do you know the funniest part about getting old is when I watch like Archie Bunker, and I think to myself, "Holy fuck, Archie's only like 48 years old in that show." So I'm sure you guys feel the same. Like, even though we're old, we're beyond 50. I think I could speak for everybody in saying I don't feel any different than I did. And I mean, maybe a little bit when I wake up in the morning, but short of that, I still feel like exactly the same 22-year-old fucking metal-loving lunatic who wants to gallivant around the globe. So it's an interesting perspective to be at this age and look at everybody else, our contemporaries, not in music, but just outside. When you go to a normal post 50-year-old function, we probably agree that we stick out pretty abnormally compared to the guys in the khaki shorts and their fucking boat shoes, and you know what I mean. And then we roll into the room and they're like, "Who the fuck are you?" Yeah, I'm also 57.
I'm nobody.
I'm 57. Funny.
I feel too. We all look younger than most mid-50s people.
Certainly different.
This lifestyle, it keeps you, eternally an adolescent.
Yeah, I love that.
Totally.
There's also
if everybody shaved up other than Dave, because Dave looks younger than everybody. If everybody shaped
And I'm
up,
older than
baby
all of you,
faces-
probably.
Well, I'm going to be 59 January 9th, so we're pretty close, I think.
We're
Happy
close.
birthday.
Yeah.
All right.
I think there's something to be said for the studio tan as opposed to the, outside, doing a construction job tan.
Yeah.
And what it can do to your skin over time, So, I've been in the studio and concert halls, blah, 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 in my bedroom practicing and, writing, so.
I traded sunspots for liver spots. Cheers.
Cheers, man.
Cheers, man.
Okay, cheers.
Green-
So,
green tea for me, thanks.
Jack for me.
Empty
So,
water.
so starting all the way from the beginning, I would like each and every one of you to tell us how did your journey in metal music start and what influenced you to pick up your instrument of choice. I'll start with David.
Well, goodness. I guess, because my voice is low and it dropped when I was very young. I mean, no one could believe it. I couldn't believe it either, but it was just natural
Like
for me.
it was.
So, I hear low frequency it's because it's kind of in tune with my body. So, when I was growing up and listening to the bands that I was at the time, I heard bass, and I heard a lot of bass, and that kind of motivated me to want to go in that direction. I felt like it was kind of a natural thing. It's, back then, of course, sort of through the 70s, a lot of the bass that you heard with, folks wrote songs differently back then. And there was a lot less shadowing and a lot more sort of independence between the bass and the guitar. And that's, so therefore you hear bass a lot more. Like I'm talking about like old, Grand Funk Railroad and obviously Sabbath, old Alice Cooper. They all had really on point bass players, and you take that away and it's like the song is different. So that's where I was.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Trevor?
Well, being a little kid, just loving music in general, when you're a little toddler. So I always loved music. Grew up around it. My family, like my father, all his brothers all played instruments. My grandpa played the mandolin and all that kind of crap, So I grew up around people playing music a lot. And but I remember one day, the first time I heard High Voltage by AC/DC, that kind of ruined me for life. I was like, oh shit, this is badass. I was like 8 years old, 7 years old or whatever. And this is at a party, my dad's the softball club, he played softball, and his buddy's house, he was playing that album. I was like, that's sick. And his buddy gave me the album on vinyl. That was my first vinyl I ever had, was High Voltage. And so that kind of made me want to get into heavier music, Sabbath and all that. And so that kind of, I think Sabbath kind of invented death metal, if you think about it, right? So,
In a strange way, sure.
But
Nothing happens without Sabbath.
Yeah.
Nothing happens without Sabbath. We're not sitting here without Sabbath,
Exactly.
With heavy and
That was
soft,
definitely the ignition point. Yeah.
Yeah. So that kind of took me on the journey of wanting to learn to play music or play guitar. Well, at first I wanted to play drums. My dad's like, that shit's too loud. But he didn't realize I could get like 100 Marshall stacks. So I guess it worked out for the best, because Donald from Obituary, met him in the neighborhood, and he was learning drums and I was learning guitar. So that kind of worked out. But,
did you ever?
And I guess,
100
and
Marshall stacks?
what really, I think really made me want to play in a band though, I remember seeing Nasty Savage at the fairgrounds.
Thank you.
Nasty Savage.
And
I was
like,
expecting you guys to
holy
mention
shit,
Nasty Savage. Yeah.
I was like, damn, 13, 14 or something. And I was like, okay, I know I want to be in a band now after seeing that shit.
No doubt.
Nasty
So there you
Savage
go.
seemed to have been very influential for you guys, right? I mean,
Oh,
back
yeah.
then in the scene, they
yeah.
they were pretty known in Florida, right? So
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Oh my
Well,
God.
them and Sabotage both.
Yeah, Sabotage too. Yeah, absolutely.
But like Nasty Savage was like the dirty old cousin of Sabotage, though. You know, there was like TV smashing and fucking harmony. Like, I don't know, man. They, you know, Curtis and his floor tom double bass, and I mean, it was just like, I mean, like, I can't explain.
Like
I know
20 inches.
What? Yeah, super. I mean, I've never seen anybody do that. I don't even think I've seen anybody do it.
18-inch floor
They're
tom.
either 16 or 18. Sleepwell Curtis Peterson.
It was like an early Trigger sound, which oddly, you know, as I'm thinking about it now, because he needed a tighter bass drum sound, so I'm guessing that's why he went with the floor toms. But looking back on that, man, it was go Curtis, man. He was you know, he was. But I mean, I'm sure that Trevor would agree, and Rick as well. I mean, those times in Tampa, you know, Sunset Club, and what was that other place? Ruby's. Fuck, man. Those, I mean, and that was before moshing. That was before circle pits and all that shit. And we used to all just like pile like 10 people deep, maybe even more, in front of the crowd or in front of the stage, and just fucking headbang. Nobody got hurt. Nobody got elbowed in the face. It was like, it was just fucking everybody really enjoying it. But they just had something. There was just something about Nasty Savage that, and also I can remember being outside after the show and Ben having this huge blue vehicle, and they had just signed a record deal, and he would open the trunk and sell records out of the back of that car. And I remember that had such an impression on me. Like, I want to do, I don't want, because, you know, a lot of people, I come south of Tampa where there's a lot of cover tune bands and shit like that. The only other original band in Sarasota was Crimson Glory. Fucking fantastic band. But you know, we, Nasty Savage just represented, they were just heavy enough to be kind of, you know, appreciated by, I mean, look at all the death metal people that appreciate them, and clearly they're not that, but I mean, musically, and they, you know, they had a bass player named Dezo Bartha, who
Dezo was awesome.
My God, he was, you know, so they just represented so many firsts in my young, you know, the idea of having, you know, the independence of bass, you know, that's not playing along with the guitar, and then the harmonies of Dave and Ben, and then just, you know, and Curtis, obviously, but Nasty Ronnie, I mean, fucking, you know, what can we say about that guy? I mean, he just
he's a three-ring circus all by himself.
I can't say enough about him. So yeah, Nasty Savage was a huge starting point, I think, for a lot of us in Tampa.
Absolutely.
James, how did it all start with you? Music journey and everything.
I mean, my initial draw to music was Kiss. You know, Ace Frehley, and jumping up and down on my bed with a broom, pretending I'm playing guitar, and started asking, you know, my parents for a guitar from probably about age 7. But you know, they never did get me one. So I used to sneak my dad's guitar out of the closet, which I was strictly not allowed to do, but I did it anyway. And eventually he started showing me a couple of, cowboy chords and stuff like that. And that's really all he played. He just kind of strummed and sang old like folk songs and country songs and stuff. And so I learned, all that stuff from him. And then eventually he finally did let me play his guitar, and I discovered Randy Rhoads.
There you go.
And of course I was already a big, Sabbath fan, Rush fan, but Randy was what was really kind of was a catalyst that pushed me to get serious about playing guitar. And I finally got my own guitar at about age 17. I've been playing a borrowed guitar for the year prior to that. And, I had moved to Germany in 1981. But, I was back by late 1984, and I was there. I mean, Kelly left my name out. That's probably because we didn't know each other back then. But I was at a lot of those shows, Nasty Savage, all those early shows, like at the little strip mall place in Brandon, whatever that
what
site.
the hell was that called?
I can't remember what that club was called. Sunset Club. I went to all those shows. I was there.
I didn't know that. Yeah, I didn't know that you were in town then.
Yeah.
Did you borrow that guitar you're holding right now?
Oh yeah. All these are borrowed. But yeah, man, I just got into Nasty Savage and Sabotage, and and I was majorly influenced by them. I mean, you can hear it in my playing. Like if you pay attention, and now that I'm saying it, and you listen back to especially my early stuff, you go, okay, I see where he's got some Chris Oliva in him, when I do all the octave melody stuff, and that's all straight Chris Oliva. And some of the weird bar stuff that I do, the weird articulations that I do, I jacked those, and of course, I worked on them over the years, and I came up, added my own thing to it. But my initial seed of that was David from David Austin from Nasty Savage. Like, I loved his weird bar work. I would just sit there at the shows and watch him and go, "What the hell is he doing?" And it was just craziness, and I would try to mimic it, and of course, you never can mimic somebody exactly. So, to the extent that I was able to absorb some of it, it eventually became part of my style, along with the stuff I got from Chris Oliva. And that was my initial push.
Okay, Rick, it's your turn. How did the journey start?
I don't even know I don't even know what I'm answering. So I didn't know that James used a whammy. But what was the question again, if you don't mind me asking? Because I just been absorbed.
Yeah. How did your journey in metal music start, and what influenced you to pick up your instrument of choice? I mean, guitar.
I mean, it's already all out there. There's not much of me to say to that. Ace Frehley, Pat Travers, Ted Nugent, Tony Iommi, Brad Whitford, Joe Perry, some Eddie Van Halen with the whammy stuff, some Uli Roth, KK Downing, Steve Clark for riffs, for rock and roll riffs from Def Leppard. There's all kinds of stuff. So, Jeff Hanneman, Kerry King for the whole speed thing. And yeah, man, it's cool stuff, man. That's all I got.
Thank you.
I do use a bar, Rick, and I have for years, but it's just that when I first joined Death, Chuck didn't want me to, so I didn't on that album. But I have on every other album that I did.
I just destroyed his whole Leprosy record with whammy bar and the whole thing that said that couldn't be done.
It was killer. I love your work on that record, dude. I love your work on that record.
That works, man. You were in the band for a minute. It's good. Good times. And a ball of nothing.
I didn't think about you two guys being like ex-boyfriends of fucking that same band. That's an interesting dynamic. I didn't even think about you
dude,
guys.
We used to spoon all the time. Are you kidding me? I combed his hair and mine fell out.
I didn't even get that dynamic until just right now. Like, oh, shit.
God bless you, man. And it's a real honor, Demetrius, for having me involved in all this. It's really, really cool, man. And it's all in fun. I have no hard will or wish no harm on anyone or anything. It's all just in jokes, and I'm not a comedian. But hey, dude, I didn't hear you use the whammy. My bad. You used the whammy.
Rick Rozz, you know what?
No, one spot. I did that big grinder between solos on the title track. But I did not. Other than that, I did not.
Solo on Mutilation.
When I would do that, I think I did it. I think I used some whammy. Maybe I didn't. I don't know. I had it with me. I don't know why.
Dude, I'm completely bad humor, and I'm done babbling my freaking old ass off. I'm good. Left to die, man. See you 2026.
Rick, you just said it's a great honor. I mean, I gotta say, you guys, all of you, it's a great honor for me. I mean, I was a kid. I was like 13 years old, listening to your music, having all these posters, growing up with your stuff, And now I have you all just like that in front of my camera, and we're having a discussion. It's like amazing for me.
Pretty freaking cool. Yeah. I'm being as honest as possible and asking honest questions. That's why.
Man. And
I don't know.
I'm gonna say. I'm gonna go to Kelly last. Sorry, Kelly, you still have to answer the last question, but. I'm gonna also offer a funny story how I met Trevor for the first time. I mean, I was a pain in the arse when I was 13 years old, and he doesn't remember it. We talked last time in the interview, but I was that Greek kid who found his lightman Nick Chevalier from Naphobia, and through him, I was sending like emails all the time, like, "Hey guys, come to Greece, and everything." And it's thanks to Nick that I put all my vinyl covers, all my CD covers, all my tape covers, everything in a package, and all my posters, sent it to them. These guys signed everything, and they sent me back with a present, the Don't Care album, single. And I was like ecstatic, you can imagine like a 13, 14-year-old kid. I was like, holy shit, man, I've got this stuff. So thank you for that. And the first time I met him was with Catastrophic in Newcastle. I was a student in the UK at the time. And I thought, I'm not going to go late. I'm going to go around the afternoon when I know there's not a lot of security guards and everything, so just going to approach him easily. So I see him and I'm like, Trevor? He says, yes. I said, do you remember a 13-year-old little shit from Greece who was just being a pain in the arse all the time, telling you to come over to Greece? And he goes like, Dimitris?
Wow.
Yeah. So, thank you for that memory, man. I mean, it's amazing.
You're welcome, brother. All good.
Here, that's, I think, your signature, Trevor. Oh, no, I think. But anyway, that's one of the posters he signed. And yeah,
That's
good
funny.
memories. Good memories, man. Anyways, so going to Kelly now. Kelly, how did your music journey start? And we should also mention that in the beginning you were also playing guitar and that you're left-handed, right?
Yeah, and I still play guitar every day.
Okay.
I just don't play on stage anymore.
You had your carpal syndrome. I don't know how to say this in English.
Yeah, carpal tunnel. I have so if I play standing up for any length of time, my hand just falls asleep. My thumb just goes dead. So if I sit down, I could play for 3 hours in a row. So I was just in '93. I was like, fuck it, man. I don't need the ego trip of playing guitar or any of that. You know what I mean? I don't need that. So I'd rather it be played well by somebody who can play well. And plus singing and playing Atheist shit is fucking hard. So I don't know. And especially I'm grateful that I did that back then because my job is much easier now. 5 minutes before we go on stage, I'm not like stressing about tuning and the fucking guitar sound and the monitors and the, all the stressful parts of being a live performer. I don't miss playing people ask all the time. Like, do you miss playing guitar? I'm like, I not on stage. No way, man. That's just a lot of work. I like to just show me where the fucking mic is and what time we roll. And that's kind of where I'm at these days. But my journey started in a much different place. It's so funny how many people shout out Ace Frehley, but Kiss was like the reason I wanted to make better music. I never liked Kiss, man. I always thought Ace Frehley was a sloppy player, and it's like I get the whole the thing about the show and all that, but man, I missed the boat on the whole Kiss thing, I guess. And so I find myself sometimes feeling like an outsider when everybody talks about how important Ace Frehley was to them, and I'm like, did I miss something? Or I don't know, but I think I was just looking for different shit. And I mean, I obviously we had such weird influences, but I think that Alex Webster just said something in a magazine recently which really touched on everything, is that we owe a lot to Slayer. Everybody owes a lot.
I read that.
Slayer.
Yes, I read that today, actually. Yeah.
Slayer was like the changing point. Metallica, a little bit early Metallica as well, but Slayer just slam dunked that shit, and everybody went, oh shit. Especially Rain and Blood. I mean, I'm sure we can all agree that the first time you heard Rain and Blood, and after you picked your jaw up off the floor from the fucking drums, you were like, all right. Now we know the direction, and so then we each individually, which is interesting because each of the guys on this panel all represent such a unique branch on the tree of death metal that we took the same influence and went in different directions. And I think that's something to be spoken about because when you look at Obituary, for instance, Trevor, your guitar tone, I don't think people talk about it enough. Like, there's nobody that has a guitar sound like your guitar sound,
Tom G. Warrior, are you kidding me? Yeah. That's where he got it from, and he'll admit that himself. And dude, what death metal influenced you, Kelly Shaefer?
What death metal influenced?
Yeah, what? Tell me.
I mean, I don't think death metal
influenced.
influenced.
Where does Atheist come into death metal? My only question to you, Kelly Shaefer.
Fuck, man. I mean, it actually comes more from Dark Angel and early Destruction. It comes from thrash metal, really. I mean, I think, and Terrence Hobbs backstage when we were touring one time, I was doing an interview and they were talking about us in death metal, and it's arguable that Atheist might not be, as I
didn't say Atheist wasn't death metal.
No, I can get
that.
Though.
Your genre of music, what you play when you get on stage, what was your influences? I'm not trying to down you in any way.
Fucking Rush and Spyrogyra and fucking Frank Zappa. I mean, we loved all that, but we loved the power of the Dark Angels and the destruction and in the very early days.
That's cool. That's my only question, and I'm sorry for cutting anybody off. And Trevor, I'm sorry for putting you in the category of Celtic Frost because I know you cats were freaking all over that shit back in the day.
Yeah, absolutely. I tried my damnedest to steal that guitar tone.
Hey, Trevor,
I'm nothing, dude. I'm just a freaking human being, freaking rotting and living right now. And Kelly, I mean no disrespect in any way.
Listen, that's
I just
what's
had to
fun
ask
about
you a
this.
question about death metal, dude. It's totally
No,
cool.
we're all fucking grown men, man. It's all good, man. I like that. I like the spirit of this conversation because, you know, when are we ever going to get to do this again? You know, so I think it's great. And I think, you know, yes, I recognize the Celtic Frost thing, but I don't know. I remember, Trev, do you remember we played at Janus Landing and something happened to one of our amps and I couldn't play and I was like, can I play through your amp? And you were like, and it was like last minute. Do you remember that? And you were like, you don't remember? And you were like, okay, you can play through, but don't touch my fucking sound. Don't touch my tone. And I didn't, you know, I was young then, and I didn't recognize the fact that you really did have a tone that we had two totally different tones guitar wise. And I was, you know, when you're young, you kind of have all these different things. I mean, shit, me and David had issues back in the day. You know, when we were young, we were all fucking piss and vinegar trying to, you know, there was a lot of spirited competition back then. I remember Morbid Angel, Obituary, Atheist at this club, and Pete Sandoval had such a fucking huge drum set that we had no room left on stage. And I'm like, David's like, I don't play fucking drums, man. I mean, we all had like drum stands in the bottom of our back as we were playing. But I mean, back in those days, it was kind of it was fun. I mean, Rick, do you remember the altercation with Chuck Schuldiner and Morrisound? Do you remember that?
No, dude, I don't. There was no altercation with Chuck Schuldiner and Morrisound when I recorded at Morrisound with Chuck Schuldiner for the Legacy record in 1988.
No, between me and Chuck.
I don't remember you even being there in 1988 at the studio at Morrisound, Kelly. So I'm sorry. No, I don't remember that.
Not 1988. It was.
You said in Morrisound.
Yeah, it might have been 88. Yeah.
That's the only time I was in Morrisound with Chuck Schuldiner was in 1988.
So it was because we were doing Piece of Time. So it was 88. Holy shit. Man, time is really, really gone.
No, I don't remember the altercation. I remember watching hockey games with Terry, Bill, and Chuck. And I don't remember ever seeing you at Morrisound. So no disrespect, dude.
No, none taken. My whole point in the whole thing was that when we were young,
why would
we were
you even bring a
different guys than we are now that we can have conversations.
What does that even mean?
What do you mean?
Why did you even bring a dead guy up in this conversation? He's okay. So you brought up a dude that was involved in death metal, which, in my opinion, I'm going to not say what I was just going to say, but yeah, I don't remember seeing you there, man. I don't know why you brought Chuck into the equation, but hey, listen, I'm good.
But you were in that band.
Yeah, for that moment, but I don't remember. It
was turned into the conversation.
That was a good comeback for a moment. But listen, I'm going to shut up and I'm going to hang out and just listen to what's going on. And I wish everybody the best in 2026 in death metal and whatever you do in music and in podcasts and whatever type of music, man.
It's God bless you, man. Yeah, we're trying to go down memory lane anyways, but...
no, I get it. But babble's babble and bullshit's bullshit, man. I'm going to call it out and not calling any names out, but God bless you.
Wow, that's some double-sided shit right there, my man.
All right, so what do you mean by double-sided, brother?
You're talking about double-sided. What does that mean?
Guys,
tell me, Kelly, what's double-sided?
Well, that's like a really passive-aggressive thing to say. Well, I'm not trying to start shit, but let me start some shit.
What, speaking facts? That I don't remember that I didn't see you when you bring up Chuck Schuldiner in a conversation?
Hey, listen,
it's all cool, man. It's all cool. All right.
All love to you, buddy. I'm here to celebrate a kind of music. When you ask me why I brought up Chuck Schuldiner, it's because he's probably one of the kings of death metal. So it's pertinent to the conversation. Let's roll forward.
Cool,
man.
Yeah, Rick, I know that he said it with respect.
Come
on.
Metal thing too, man. You're part of that death metal thing too, man.
Okay. All right.
So whatever your passive aggressive thing is, calling out for access, my opinion, and your opinion is your opinion, and
all respected.
Yeah. All right, cool. Yeah, I got it.
Okay, so
you boys might have to take it to the octagon later.
All right, okay. Guys, let's keep it like this.
All good.
Hey, you might get some ratings for this, brother, because I didn't expect any of this. This is all improv, man.
Yeah.
Actual improv.
It's all spirited, man. It's all good. We're grown ass fucking men. We can talk about it.
You got to snap in order to make it official. You got to snap into like Hulk Hogan. Let me tell you something, brother. No, you got to go after him like that.
You can snap into a Slim Jim.
God damn it, Rick Rozz, what are you doing?
So
cut a promo.
going on with a positive spirit, and I know Kelly has every positive intention on this. I'm just gonna ask, say a couple of words for each and every other person on this panel. Share a couple of memories, how you met, and also something that you remember from these guys that share on the same panel. So I'm gonna start with David.
Well, let's see. They brought up some of this stuff. Being around Tampa, it's kind of strange to me. A lot of people think, Florida, it must have been this thing where you could go to any bar every night and everybody's hanging out and singing Kumbaya, and it really wasn't that. I feel like we were all, working and honing our own craft, and we'd run into each other from time to time. And I felt like, everybody was like doing their thing. And that's the biggest difference for me is, back in the day, we're all essentially contemporaries. All the bands sounded different. Yes, we were all, recording at Morrisound and, sort of living in somewhat close proximity, but we all sounded different. If you the old records, and take the first Morbid, the first Obituary, the first Atheist, any of these records, but they were very, very different sounding as opposed to today, when it seems like folks conflate the word influence with plagiarism. That's that. I remember the good old days by being, gosh, everybody had their own craft, their own thing that they were doing, and they did the best that they could.
So,
indeed, it's a genre that is very characteristic. Florida death metal, and it's that's why I also named the show Fathers of Death Metal, because I consider it to be the the beginning. Of course, we had the European scene as well and everything, but however, as you said, David, Morbid Danger was very different. Obituary was very different. Cannibal Corpse was different. D-Side, every band, Death, and so on and so forth. Every band has its own characteristics and was unique in that scene, and was writing history. So, yeah. Okay, you want to add something else, David?
No, I'm just, I'm happy to be here, and like I said, we don't see each other often. I don't even live in Florida anymore, so it's good to see these guys when they're out on the road. When I see that they're on a bill, I try to watch a show, and it reminds me of a lot of good memories. So I have positive thoughts of those times. That's for sure.
Cool, man. Thank you, Rick. I'm gonna go next to you. Memories you have from meeting the other guys on this.
I was listening to David. I'm sorry.
Yeah, sorry. I was going to say it's your turn. If you want to say how you met each and every person on this panel, maybe share a memory from back then, some insights that the fans would like to know, and how it all started and stuff.
Well, as far as I'll start with David, since he's first in line on the video here. I remember meeting him at Daytona Beach, Florida, when they first hired Pete Sandoval, and we picked them up, and I rode with them to the Greyhound station, saying we, because I did ride with them. And that's the first time I met him. But the big thanks to David Vincent is that he relayed a message from Digby Pearson from Earache Records in 1990-ish, and called me and said, hey, I'm on Earache Records with Morbid Angel, and Digby Pearson's a big fan of Massacre, and he wants to know if you want to do a record. And that's all I got on David Vincent, and that's why Massacre got a record deal. But nothing but respect to David Vincent, and he's been cool. And last time I saw him was some festival we were doing. We met in a hotel, and I was like, hey, dude, can we do a selfie? Anyway, so yeah, Trevor Perez. Last time I saw Trevor,
probably
the
that
DTA tour when Massacre opened for DTA and Obituary.
That's probably
That's the last time I saw Trevor. As far as Kelly, what he said earlier, the last time I saw Kelly was on the 70,000 Tons of Metal. I don't remember when that was. The last time I saw James Murphy was at a Left to Die show in Tampa when I saw Dan Johnson, the producer of Leprosy.
What about the first time? I was talking about the first time.
Of who?
About everybody.
We've seen who? Trevor was Tampa, like, well, David Vincent, that was like, kind of mentioned that, was in Daytona Beach when he was with Morbid Angel. Or actually, it was a Massacre show, but I don't think I met him then at the Rocky Point Beach Resort. So, sorry to continue on. Trevor was there too. Obituary was there, and yeah, David Vincent. Morbid Angel was playing, and David Vincent wasn't in Morbid Angel at the time. That was
Mike Browning.
Yeah, Mike Browning was drumming and doing vocals, but David was there, and he was with Gork Records out of Atlanta, Georgia. So anyway, but Trevor was. I ran into Trevor a bunch. You know, I was from the Altamont Springs, Orlando area back in the day, and I spent a lot of time in Tampa. Excuse me, doing the death rehearsals and the mask rehearsals when I walked. Anyway, yeah. So Trevor's been around there for a while, man. It's cool.
All right.
Yeah.
Trevor?
But James, I don't remember the first time I've ever met James. I don't know if we met when I was still in death.
Yeah. It was a show at the Sunset Club.
Okay, rock and roll, dude. Yeah, I don't remember that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But the first time I met Kelly, I think was that. I don't think I ever met Kelly prior to that 70,000 Tons tour, which was a Massacre thing when Massacre got the Central Media record deal for Back from Beyond. So yeah, that's all I got, man. Thanks for listening to my freaking buzz babble, and
thanks, man.
you know, I wasn't trying to be a dick to anybody, but facts are facts, and
Good, man.
Okay.
Jacks are jacks.
Trevor, your turn. How did you meet with everybody on this channel?
So I met David the first time with the Gork record. You remember he came down and checked us out, Executioner? David?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. You know, everybody's memory is much better than mine.
Yeah.
That's how.
So yeah, he came down. He was down.
Terry Butler's got the best memory, dude. Terry Butler needs to write a book.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, he's an encyclopedia. But yeah, I met David then. That was like shit. I don't remember what year that was. It would have been like before we got signed. So I don't know, maybe 88, something like that.
Possibly.
But like Rick said, yeah, I've met Rick at shows, Massacre, Death stuff, all that way back then, you know, just in Tampa all the time. Like at Sunset Club, and I don't even know, you know, it's a blur. And Kelly, I don't know when was the first time we ever met. Goddamn.
Was that that show in the hotel lobby with Nasty Savage? You guys are still Executioner. We only met briefly, so it wasn't like I was probably just another dude that met you that night. But the things that I took away from that were you were like quintessentially visually so fucking death metal. Like in the early days, like, Trevor, I mean, I think we can all agree that like you just looked like the perfect death metal guy when there was no precedent, you know what I mean? And so that's what I remember about that so much. And it was in this lobby, this weird fucking lobby of a hotel. And it was a sick show. It was amazing. And everybody was there. But I just remember it being a really unusual venue. And you guys are always so amazing. I mean,
Did Sabotage play that night too?
Who else?
Was it Sabotage play too? Or was it just Savage?
Maybe. I feel like Nasty Savage was a headliner, but
maybe. Yeah, I remember that show. That was so damn long ago.
Yeah, I don't know what that venue was called, but that was the first time I think that I ever saw you guys. And then, I know that the very reason we went to Morrisound was because of the sound of the double bass on the Executioner demo. We were like, holy fuck, that changed the game, Yeah. Shout out to Scott Burns. Yeah.
Hey, Trevor, what year was that Executioner demo?
85 or 86?
That was done at Morrisound?
Yeah.
Cool.
Our very first.
I'm just interrupting, asking a question.
Yeah.
Or asking a question. I'm sorry.
Yeah. First demo we did was even earlier. We did in 84 at the old Morrisound that was out on like Howard, Armenia or some shit.
Yes, sir.
Florida Avenue.
Yes, sir.
Somewhere out there in Tampa. That was our first recordings. With
Oh,
them.
rocking. Cool. Very cool.
Yeah. And Muprhy, now we met, I guess, because when you left Death, I don't know. I don't remember if I met you before that when you joined us.
I saw you at shows and, saw you in passing. We didn't really talk or anything much before I came to Morrisound and met with you guys.
I'll bring something.
About joining,
right back. Go ahead. I'll be right back.
Yeah, so that was the first time I remember meeting you was, when you gave me that call that night. Because we were looking for someone to do, because Alan had left the band, West.
Yeah. Are you sure it wasn't Scott that called you? Scott Burns?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, Scott. Yeah.
Yeah, because Scott hooked us up, and that's how I ended up out at Morrisound, because I had called Scott to tell him I was departing Death, and he said, well, I got Obituary in the studio, and they need a guitarist. You asked me if I had any interest. I said, yeah, absolutely. And so he hooked it up, and I came down and met with you guys at the studio.
Yeah, and we were in the middle of recording Cause of Death.
Yeah. I didn't even have a guitar at that point. I had to borrow one from Mike Davis from Nocturnus. Look, this is history of borrowing guitars. Well, I got plenty now. More than I need.
Awesome.
Saying that story before with how I, as a young kid, I got in contact with Obituary to get signed all of my, stuff. Here's the Cause of Death tape, right? And I had all the signatures over here. And the funny thing is, in the photo, they just put metal over James.
What?
Yeah. That's something you, Trevor, probably don't even remember. Am I right?
No.
Yeah. It's been a long time, man. It's been a long time.
Many years ago, that was.
Yeah. That was around 94 or something like that.
Yeah, a lot of doobies since then.
Yeah,
Sure.
man. Yeah. Kelly, did I ask you or did I not? I don't remember.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think we touched on the early days, and I can't remember the first time I ever met James. I think maybe the first time we met was in the lobby of Morrisound.
Yeah,
in 91.
probably. Yeah, I mean, I had
then
come out to shows, but we never really talked until then. I don't think.
Yeah, and then I think David first time might have been right around the Cause of Death show there. That show that I was speaking about. That was probably the first time we spoke, and but I think we all ran in similar. We were at similar shows. We just never happened to maybe meet up with each other. But I remember seeing you, Rick, in the Armory in Tampa. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Fuck, who I can't remember. That was a huge show. That was a massive show, and it was like one of the biggest shows that I had seen in Tampa. And I was just like, wow, I wish I was up there. Like I really.
You said the Armory in Tampa?
Yeah.
Yep.
You remember
that was Megadeth and Overkill, and Massacre didn't play that show. And if I don't remember seeing you there, then Necros opened that gig.
What?
And that, pardon me?
I swear that you were there.
Well,
I was there. Massacre was supposed to open for Megadeth and Overkill.
Oh.
And that's the night that I quit Massacre.
Oh, shit.
And some cat freaking walked up to me and said, hey, Chuck Schuldinger's back in town. This is Christmas of that year. So just to answer your quick question, Kelly. Yeah, so the next day I went to Chuck Schuldinger's house. And but I don't remember meeting you there that night once again. But Massacre was supposed to open for Megadeth and Overkill, and then Necros opened 1987. And I went to Chuck Schuldinger's house the next day, thanks to the gentleman that I have no idea who his name is or what his face looks like. And that's how Death got back together, and we did a Scream Bloody Gore tour in 1987 with Chuck, Bill, and Terry, brother. God bless you. Thanks for bringing that up.
Okay.
Did you want me to answer that question, Demetrius?
Yeah, please do.
Well, I think the first time I met David, probably where we actually talked, I honestly can't remember. I honestly have no memory of that at all. I know it wasn't like Aces or something. It was well before that. It was probably at a show. Probably at a show. Trevor again.
It might have been
seen.
Aces.
Yeah, it might have been Aces.
It might have been Aces. Yeah.
You know, Trevor, I had met it. I had seen it shows and had said like, or like probably said like hey to or whatever, because I was always doing that. But again, I didn't never really talk to him until Scott, hooked us up at, to made an appointment for us to meet at Morrisound about me potentially, taking the open position in Obituary. And so that was really the first time I talked with him. Rick, the first time I actually talked to Rick was at a death show supporting Leprosy at the old Sunset Club. And I actually interviewed them for a Dutch fanzine that I was doing, some work with called Ravenous. And I took a really awful picture of him because I was an awful photographer and I had an awful camera. And I did an awful interview because I was terrible at interviews. And it ended up being printed in that fanzine. But that was the first time I ever talked to Rick. And Kelly, it's sort of the same thing as David. I don't remember the exact time, but he's probably right. It was the first time we ever probably talked was at Morrisound when, I don't know, I think Pestilence was there, right? Recording Testimony of the Ancients, I think.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was before that. No,
it was during Unquestionable, so it had to be 91, and Pestilence was there as well because there was a lot of series of events that happened during that session.
Right.
That ring in my memory well. But so I think Morrisound was always kind of this, man, I treasure those times of sitting in the lobby and watching TV while there was an A and a B room, and there was just so much great music coming out of that studio in those times. Not just death metal, but just Sabotage, Crimson Glory, probably all kinds of records that I probably don't even know about. But as a young kid, it was just exciting to be in the studio. I think that was one of the funnest things about becoming a musician was just once you get to go in the smell of a studio, the smell of a real studio, and being able to record your music and hear it in a different way than you did at rehearsal and all those things. Morrisound was just synonymous with all those memories, those great memories of seeing each other there, making music that now is still around 35, 40 years later. So it's pretty cool, man.
Mm-hmm. Did I leave somebody out? No, I think everybody else.
I'm going to excuse myself for just once I got to handle something.
We're going to go on a break right now because we just completed 1 hour. So we're going to do our 1 hour break for 3 to 4 minutes, everybody. Stay online. We're going to be back in 3 to 4 minutes. So
all right, I'm going to fill up my drink.
See you all in a bit.
Fill up the cocktail.
Wanting a soul in a weird eye. Fathers of death metal. Wanting a soul in a weird eye. Fathers of death metal. Wanting a soul when you be like me. Fathers of death metal. Wanting a soul when you be like me. Fathers of death metal.
Hello everybody, we're back. Thank you for waiting for us. Okay, here we are with David Vincent, James Muprhy, Rick Rozz, Kelly Shaefer, and Trevor Paris. So, guys, just gonna go to the next question, and I want to ask you to tell us how crucial was Morrisound Studios and Scott Burns for the death metal scene, the genre. How was your experience working with Scott, and how did his work also influence your sound, as well as the whole genre? I'm gonna start with just in random. James.
Yes, sir. Well, me and Scott had a really excellent working dynamic. It was just fun, killer. We had our just routine down after doing so many recordings together, and man, I love Scott. And he was absolutely just amazing and encouraging, always encouraging, and he knew when to push you. He knew when to leave the room and give you a minute to work on something. He just sort of had a natural intuition about that sort of thing. And as far as the really influence he had on me, besides just the workflow in general, it was had a lot to do with just engineering. That's when I got bit by the bug and started studying and learning and asking questions, and eventually ended up becoming a producer myself, and did that for like over 20 years. So he was the initial influence for that. Like, oh wait, delay can be added after the fact. I can record dry and I can change the delay as many times as I want until I'm happy with it in the mix. What? It blew my mind. Until that point, I thought you just had to set your delay on your pedal and that was it. You were stuck with that, And he clued me into all this stuff, starting with the death record and with spiritual healing. And it just, he made a huge mark on me, a huge impression. I love when I run into him out in the wild, which I recently did at the Death to All show. It's just a good time. And he's a great dude.
Mm-hmm. David?
Well, so I worked with Scott for the Terrorizer record, but we didn't do any Morbid with him. Morris, a little different there, but in terms of Scott, great guy, all those guys, they each had a little different take on things, a little different style. But Morrisound, certainly, look at how many records came out of there. I mean, I'd say it's of high importance in the grand scheme of things.
Thank you, Trevor.
Morrisound, like we were saying earlier, I think it was like '84. We recorded our first demo at that studio, the original old studio. And Scott, he wasn't even there at the time, I don't think. Maybe he might have been, but we were using this guy named, I think, Rick Miller. And then we fast forward up to Slowly Rot. We were recording that in '88 at the studio. And Rick started the production with it. He was this engineer originally on it. And think his mom got sick or something, like out in California. So like right dead. I mean, we weren't even halfway done. I don't even know how far we were into it. I can't remember really, but Scott was just some dude there sweeping the floors and patching, cables for the producers, and he was learning. He knew how. He was an engineer too, but he wasn't really an engineer at Morrisound, I don't think, at the time, really. And he was just kind of a helper. And then he jumped in place of Rick Miller and started recording that album with us slowly. And after that, he recorded everything, for us, and so yeah, Morrisound obviously was great, especially when they built that new studio. It was awesome, that place was state of the art, and so yeah, pretty important. And obviously, how many bands came to Morrisound from around the world after all the recordings we all did in there, it was pretty sick that people were that interested in that studio, because all the albums we all did there, people were like, holy hell, place is badass. And then of course Scott Burns ended up burning out on it because he was working there 18 hours a day, 7 days a week. I think his wife ended up giving an ultimatum, like, he's either the studio or me, and he's like, okay.
Did he help you? Did he help you form your sound? Did he?
Well, I mean, like his take on what the drums would sound like. I mean, as far as like my guitar tone was already what I was doing, as far as that goes, and of course Donald's beating on the drums the way you do because it's a natural organic instrument. So, but Scott definitely, he definitely had some influence, like where the mic would go and what he would do to make the drum sound sick, and he'd go in and do whatever, So yeah, he definitely helped influence what was going on in the recording big time. In fact, actually, Cause of Death, actually Slowly Rot and Cause of Death are both written in E standard. So Slowly Rot was recorded in E standard as far as guitars go. And then Cause of Death, I did all the scratch guitar rhythms in E. And then when I went to go do the final take, Scott was like, have you ever thought about down tuning? I was like, no, never thought about it. Whatever. No, I was like, whatever. I never even thought about using. You want to try it? So I was like, okay, fuck it. So we changed my strings, we intonated the guitar and down tuned the whole thing a whole step. And I re-recorded all the guitars for Cause of Death and a whole step down. We were like, cool, sounds badass. So ever since then, so he influenced me to down tune.
Okay.
Cool.
But that album's actually recorded originally. All the scratches were in E.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. But yeah, so Scott was, killer.
I never heard that. That was all a done deal by the time I came in. The down-tuned guitars were already recorded, Trevor's rhythms.
Yeah. Crazy, right?
So I had no idea. That's news to me. That's interesting.
Yeah, I guess I didn't tell you. I didn't even think about it. Because it wasn't a big deal to me. I was like, okay, cool, let's do it.
That's what's great about this conversation is, there's just a lot of little things, that we never get a chance to talk about with each other. That's cool. Right. I didn't know that.
Yeah, man. Kelly, it's your turn.
Yeah, Scott was just, I think I mentioned earlier to Trevor, like our first experience with Scott was listening to the early Execution. We were on a compilation called Raging Death together when we were still called Ravage and Obituary was still Executioner. And it was Bory Boy. Shout out to Bory Boy Crin. Now runs Blabbermouth. He was a very, very fucking important part of this whole conversation. That guy was like a very intuitive, had his ear to the world of metal at that time, and even guys like Monty Connor, who were instrumental, but he was a very important part. But anyway, so that's how we ended up kind of knowing about each other. But just hearing that demo, man, that was because one of the key things about early double bass was that it was messy, like on production, and I just remember that being one of the first times of hearing double bass sound so nice and clear. And I just Trevor, do you remember the was it paint cans and pillows? It was like some kind of a technique that Scott Burns had. Well, maybe it was Jim.
We put pillows in there, to deaden it.
Yeah. And there was something about that, and just got that. It just gave that definition. And that was the very first time that I could just, speaking for ourselves, just sitting at rehearsal, going, "Damn, with all the double bass articulation, it would be great to be able to hear it." And even if you listen to Fight Fire with Fire, old Metallica, you can hear the double bass, but it's not the same. It's not how there's just something about Morrisound was able to create that, that separation. And that's what was really needed in that really super heavy kind of music where there's so much going on, a lot of thick tones and fast double bass. So, but that was, Scott Burns was just, man. And so we immediately went in there. And I mean, I can honestly say that I don't think any of our early records, any of us that worked with him on a record would have probably got made with the budget that was allowed, because Scott Burns was a guy that really, I mean, for Piece of Time, we had $7,200 to make that record, and Scott literally would come in early, stay late. I mean, there's no way that record gets finished for $7,200, including paying for the cover. So, Scott was that guy, man. I mean, he really is just owed so much credit to really just, also being dead honest, which is a hard thing to find. Like when you're doing solos or doing guitar parts or whatever it is, there's a lot of yes men, a lot of guys that are like, fuck it, I don't give a shit whether this guy nails a solo or not, or whether he plays tight in this double of the rhythm. Scott would be like, but you always knew it was good when Scott goes, killer, dude. That was like the Scott seal of approval. Killer, bro. Killer. And I think you're good. All right, good. We'll keep that. So I can't say enough. I could spend an hour talking about Scott Burns and how much I love him, but just really instrumental guy, very key. I think every great scene, I'm sure Seattle had a guy. Butch Vig was probably the guy in Seattle. There's always a guy that connects everybody, and it's just, when you're making your first record, you need a guy like Scott Burns just really go to bat for you, because there's so much anxiety, so much, and you're really, it's the first time you're showing your asshole with a big bright light on it too. So, you can hide in rehearsal all you want with songs, and you get in the studio and there's no hiding anything, and so Scott always made that feel very comfortable. Our inadequacy or our faults weren't shunned. They were just recognized, and he helped us anyway move towards what we ended up doing with sort of that more progressive side. And we didn't get a lot of people that were that way back then. We were, again, very, very outside the box of everything else that was really banging it out in Tampa at that time. So it was nice to have him say, hey, it's cool if you guys do something weird, and that was a big deal to me. So that was my Scott Burns thing.
Cool, man. Rick. Rick, your turn.
Wow. All right. This is gonna. I put the sauce down. So Scott Burns, From Beyond, Massacre, was the engineer and producer of that record. First time meeting Scott Burns. Is all I'm going to say about Massacre and Scott Burns. But once again, back to Mr. We're going to take it off Scott Burns for a moment, but God bless you, dude, and you rock. David Vincent, once again, is the one that called me after Digby Pearson asked him to call me, as far as noted that Digby was a fan of the band Massacre, which From Beyond was written in 1995 and 1996, okay? And once again, David called me and said, hey, I'm in Morbid Angel. I'm on Earache Records. Digby Pearson's a fan of the band. He wants to know if you want to put a record out. All right, there you go. Scott Burns produced and engineered that record at Morrisound Studios. Story number 2. Scott Burns engineered Leprosy, produced by Dan Johnson in 1988. Scott Burns allowed me to be part of his book. Then, last year, 25, 24, and that's all I got. God bless you, Scott Burns, and thank you. And thank you, David Vincent, and Digby Pearson, and Dan Johnson.
Okay. All right. So, when you guys began your journey as part of a few pioneers that created the Florida death metal scene, what were your ambitions back then? I mean, did you have any ambitions? Did you expect to become pioneers of a whole new genre? What was it that made you start? And what was it, what did you guys want to achieve? Did you want to take extremity to the next level? How was the whole thing visualized in your head? Did you just start playing music and it just became huge? Or did you have were you guys visionary and you thought like, we're going to create something new, or I don't know. I'm going to start with, randomly again, Trevor.
I don't know. We were just a bunch of teenagers trying to be heavy as hell, trying to make something heavier, Because at first, Obituary, we were Executioner. We were kind of more thrash metal, I guess, in a way you could say, back in like '84 or whatever. And one day, listening after hearing like some Frost and shit, I was like, okay, I threw all those songs away. I was like, fuck that. Now I know my path or my vision. But no, I don't think any of us were thinking, yeah, we're going to make this new genre or whatever you want to call it. I don't know. I don't know if it was really new, because I consider like Hellhammer probably one of the originators of death metal. A lot of people try to say it's black metal, but to me it's more death metal than black metal. But I guess it kind of crosses both paths, I guess, because of all the shit they wore, in their black makeup. But I don't know, we were just kids, all of us, I think, and we were just trying to be badass. And we had no clue we'd be here this, decades later still doing this crazy shit. And we're all grateful. I mean, we're all lucky as hell to have done it for this long, I never take it for granted, and love playing. I'll do it till the day I die.
Cool, man.
So
thank you for your music and your contribution. All right.
You're welcome. Thank you for loving it. We're all lucky, man, that people like it.
No shit.
We are all lucky to be still alive and talk about this shit, right? Yeah.
That too.
David, I'm going to choose you as next one.
Well, I remember back in the day, the only thing we cared about was just being in the room playing. We all had, we rented this house, a real big house in a terrible part of town, and because our bills were cheap, and we just work the least amount possible just to keep the bills paid, and then spend all the rest of the time making music. And we weren't really thinking about sort of what was going on in the scene, quote unquote. We just did what we did, and it worked, thankfully. That's really all I remember, is just playing constantly, like as much as 6-7 hours a day, like as much as possible. That's kind of what it takes. I mean, did we have opportunities to get better jobs and make more money? We sure did. Who wants to do that? Because when you're hungry and when you're starving, it keeps you on point. That was our approach from the old days.
Okay. Thank you, David. Kelly?
To David's point, I think that's one of the main things about starting out as a band is you're so hungry and you're starving and you have this just different drive and motivation. I often think that if a band like Metallica really wanted to make a great record again, if they were just to leave their wives and go rent a house somewhere, like a 4-bedroom house, and spend like 6 months there writing a record, that record would reflect that tension and all that shit. But in the early days of Atheist, I mean, the greatest thing about playing was, just like everybody said, is just, for us, we had a warehouse and we had a lot of young friends that would sit around, and it was almost like a club for people that were underage, and Crimson Glory would rehearse at the same place that we were at, and there was just this compound of music happening, and we would practice 6 days a week and wish that it was 7. It was our escape. We were able to smoke pot and make metal and hang out and create relationships as young people, and And we really wrote songs, and I'm sure a lot of you guys did this. Wrote songs in front of our friends, which was, kind of an interesting bit of pressure that sometimes creates some diamonds. That every now and then, with when you're that young, you're super impressionable, and I don't know, maybe there's a group of people come by, and you're writing a song, and may end up just trying to impress your friends. In the beginning, that's, I think, what it's about. I don't think anybody ever thinks about, wow, 40 years from now or 35 years from now, I'm going to be on a fucking podcast with my old homies, and we're going to talk about all the decades of how, there's no way that anybody could have anticipated the impact that this music has had. I mean, I'm so proud of all of the branches of the tree and of the genre have just blossomed, and there's such incredible musicians, and it's come from its most basic form and grown into a massive forest of really amazing stuff. And I can't say enough about where everybody's taken their influence from, and I think that we kind of all did that too. We took our Deep Purples and our Led Zeppelins and our Sabbaths, and we tried to weave a new blanket, and we did, and now it's just being woven in a different way. It's interesting to be a part of, so I'm grateful.
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. Thank you. James, your turn.
I think I was just living in the moment. I wanted to make, I wanted to write cool music. I wanted to be able to play the way I had sort of cultivated my lead playing. I wanted to be able to do that and see if it worked in the heavier side of things. I was just living for those moments. I wasn't really thinking too far ahead into the future. It just sort of seems like things were rolling, like they were going to keep rolling a while. I was happy with that. I didn't put a lot of thought into how things were going to play out over decades, but it has been really cool. I mean, if you had asked me back then whether I thought, 30 years later, 35 years later, people would even still be remembering any of this music, I would probably have said, I don't know. I wouldn't have had a strong feeling about it probably, but it only took probably about 10 years after I started before I realized that once it survived the grunge thing in the early 90s, I realized it was probably going to be around a while and would last. But in those very early days in the late 80s and early 90s, I didn't put a lot of thought into it. Just living in the moment, trying to write cool music and trying to express myself with my style the way I wanted to do it. And I'm just, I'm grateful it worked, and, definitely happy to still be here and to be able to hang out with all the fellas here and, reminisce back on it. And while it's actually still moving forward, for all of us in various ways, we've had different routes, different paths in our careers, and it's great to still be here doing it.
Okay, cool. Thank you, man. Rick, it's your next.
I've said enough, man. It's a blessing that I'm able to do the Left to Die thing with Matt, Gus, and Terry, a tribute to death. And that's all I got, man. I've said enough.
Okay. All right. Good. Just gonna go like a little bit to Remember the Fallen and ask you guys to say a short comment, very short comment about a few people that are gone, that they're not with us anymore, some memory worth mentioning with them. And of course, as you know and as you expect, number one person I'm gonna mention is Chuck Schuldiner. I don't know if you guys, who of you have what memories and everything, so I'm gonna ask as a fan. I'm gonna start with you, David. Chuck Schuldiner.
I mean, the guy really, he forged a trail. I was, familiar with him, before he got signed. When we moved to Daytona Beach, he used to come over and hang out with us on the beach, and just seemed like an all around really cool guy. I wouldn't say I knew him real well, but what I did know, I mean, I felt like he was really innovative, really creative. His vocals are great. Yeah, I mean, nothing but good things to say and respect.
Thank you, man. All right, and his vocals, you said, were great, and I have to say, I have to add over here how different his vocals were from album to album. I mean, from Scream Bloody Gore all the way to Sound of Perseverance. Every time we witnessed a different shift in his vocals, you know, how he developed, right?
Yeah, he definitely pushed it. I mean, I remember, God, where was I? I was out somewhere, and there was this a cover record, a Judas Priest cover record playing, and I heard Painkiller come on. I'm like, huh. I'm listening to it, and I'm like, who is this? I said, oh, that's Chuck. I'm like, you're fucking kidding me.
Right?
I was like, my goodness. I mean, you know, obviously he had a whole lot more to give than what you heard on many records. But, you know, you push it and you never know what you're going to come up with.
Thank you, David. Rick, I think I should ask you next. You had your first share with Chuck, so yeah, just going to ask you next.
Yeah, well, everybody knows the story. Late '83, met at a backyard party, hit it off, formed Mantas, which was already formed with Cam Lee, and then went on to Chuck reforming the band after I was fired for 2 weeks under the name of Death. And then it went on from there. You know, he did the Scream Bloody Gore record, came back. I told the story earlier in Tampa, met up, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. So, yeah. High school dropouts, 16.
Okay.
Backyard party.
All right. Thanks, man. Trevor.
I can't remember when I actually met him, to be honest, the first time I met him. Might have been us playing a show with Death, possibly. Yeah, because I live in Tampa and he's up in the Orlando area. But no, he was a cool dude. We got along real well. In fact, when he'd come to the Morrisound, he'd call me up and say, dude, come down to the studio, man. Let's smoke some weed. You know, shit like that all the time. And actually, I did a little stint in Orlando for a little while, like back in, I lived there, was it 95, 96, I think. I went there, I moved there to go to this tech school for commercial art. But anyhow, where I lived happened to be like 2 miles from his house, which is just totally by coincidence, you know? And so we'd hang out when I was living up there, you know? I'd see him once a month maybe, get together, have a beer, smoke some weed. In fact, he was recording stuff in his house. He had a studio he built in there, and there's this band called Intoxicated from Orlando area. I was friends with those guys, and he recorded their demos. And anyway, yeah, he's a cool dude, great musician, obviously. I mean, some of the best records. I love those Death records. They're awesome, you know. Even the Control Denied stuff was killer, you know. I love all that. But the Death stuff, hell, that even had an influence on me somewhat, you know. Like every time I heard those albums, I always loved it, you know. When Scream Bloody Gore came out, I was like blown away. I was like, this is badass. So, yeah. And he was a cool dude. We miss him. Terrible story about him. He left us too early.
Indeed, man.
Yep.
Thank you, James.
Yeah, I first met Chuck in person, like talked to him pretty much the same night that I first met Rick, but it was a little bit earlier in the evening. I had just arrived at that show at the Sunset Club. It was 88.
I remember the story with a T-shirt.
Yeah, I was wearing an Age of Steel T-shirt that I had because I had already done that Age of Steel tour, and he spotted the shirt and he commented on it, and that got us sort of talking, and then he was like, "Oh, so you're the guy who did who hooked up with them from here?" And I was, yeah. And he asked me a lot of questions about how the tour went and what it was like playing with Age of Steel and all that stuff. And it just sort of started the dialogue between us, and that's how I got to know him. And, you know, when I ultimately got into the band, it was, it was just like we had just been talking, the week before at this show, but it was nearly a year, it was maybe perhaps more than a year, but it was nearly a year, I think. And anyway, I just came in and it was just really easy. He made me feel super comfortable to write. Like it was not a lot of pressure. He didn't just say, without anything else, like let's hear what kind of riffs you got. Instead, he showed me his riffs of the new songs. And as he showed me the new songs, first they showed me the 4 that were completely written. And then he started showing me the 4 that were, started showing me 3 of the ones that had just been started. And they'd show me the riffs up to the point they were. And we get there, and then he just hit me with, you have something that goes here? And I just felt so comfortable that stuff just started flowing out of me. I was making it up on the spot, but it worked. And it was a very cool feeling that he was so accepting of hearing my ideas, and he wanted to hear them in context. He didn't just say, play some riffs. He was like, here's our riffs. You got something that completes this puzzle here. And it allowed me to just do it, without much thought. And that, it worked out really great. And that I'll always be grateful for that, always be so grateful for that experience. And, ultimately, it didn't work out, and, I moved on and joined Testament and stuff. And I'm very grateful. I'm very sad for what happened to him. I'm very grateful that I did get to reconnect with him and, bury the hatchet and just clear the air between us, and we had a great conversation, and I'm also just incredibly grateful for that.
Okay, thank you, James. Kelly?
Well, it's let me first start with saying that tremendous respect for planting the first shovel in the dirt of of a kind of music that we've all been able to sort of suck on the tit of. That guy was at the very early stages of music when it was definitely, to call your band Death is big balls, in the time that he did it. It's no secret that we had a very tough relationship, me and him personally. So out of respect for him and his family and his catalog, I have tremendous respect for where he, the ground that he laid for a lot of us to drive on smoothly. So I'll probably just leave it at that and just say that he's owed all the respect in the world for being one of the pioneers of the music that we're talking about right now. And I just, we had a tough relationship, personally, but it's just not important anymore. At 57 years old, I like to move forward and to respect everybody that's done work on the road that we're all driving on. So that's where I'll leave it with Chuck.
And thank you for the honesty. I really appreciate that. Okay. All right. Okay. So, just gonna, did I leave somebody out? No, everybody answered that. Yep. Okay. All right. Just gonna go on Frank Watkins. So obviously I'm gonna start with you, Trevor, because I remember Frank. I saw him 2004 here in Greece. I was a fan since I was a kid. So just gonna remember the fallen. Just say a couple of words about Frank, man.
He was a cool dude, it was terrible what happened, so early in life to get sick like that. And, we had our band with him at the end of his career with us. We had a little falling out, and I don't even talk about that crap because it doesn't really matter. But no, me and him we were big buddies for years. Hell, we even lived together at one point, for a couple of years in the same house. And he was a crazy motherfucker. I can say that. Whiskey drinking, hell raising. Loved his hardcore and punk music.
Yeah, man.
And of course, extreme metal too. And
do I remember correctly from one of the ancient, long time ago interviews that he had a Greek girlfriend?
Yeah, no, he was. Yeah, he Steamy Starfish. She, I don't know. I think she was actually born in Greece, if I remember correctly, but they met in Florida. Like
Okay.
her family moved to Florida, but what can you say? They still had property. They lived in what's the name of that town? It's an old historic freaking town north.
Boca
Greece.
Raton.
What's that?
Boca Raton.
No, I'm talking about the house in Greece.
Oh,
Like one time we actually.
I thought you were talking about Florida. Sorry.
No, yeah. Well, he lived in Boca, but one time we were actually in Greece and we had a couple days off, and his father-in-law, because they were married, so his father-in-law was in town at the house that they had. I can't remember the town. I'll remember it in a minute. But anyway, it doesn't matter. We went up there and barbecued and grilled and had Slovaki and went walking around that town and saw like this ancient historical ruins and stuff. It was pretty cool. His father-in-law was pretty cool. But yeah, he was married to a Greek chick.
All
They
right.
had children. Yep.
Rick, do you have any memories
Yep.
from Frank Watkins?
I never knew Frank,
You never knew.
but no. Sleep well, Frank.
Okay.
Yep. Rest in peace.
Kelly?
No, I met Frank maybe once. I didn't have a relationship with him, but he obviously earned a tremendous amount of respect from a lot of friends that we share in common. So mad respect to him and his family, and rest in peace.
All right. Thank you, man. David?
I met him a couple of times. I mean, we were friendly, but just acquaintances. But he seemed like a cool guy to me. I don't have much more than that.
Okay. James?
I loved Frank. I really loved Frank, and I just say, I was probably closest to him during the longest period of time that I was in Obituary. Simply, I don't know. Something about his personality. Trevor will say he had a very, very cool personality, kind of a New York vibe. I don't know. I loved that dude, and I was in touch with him all the way up until, I don't know, probably about a month or two before he passed. I had my last conversation with him, and I really believed that he was going to make it, and I think that I'm like this with everybody who gets sick. I thought it with Chuck. I thought Chuck was going to make it. I really believed so. When they don't, it hit me like a hammer, And and I just, just
Yeah, I know what you mean.
it's years later now, but just all my love to his family, his kids, his wife. I knew his wife, Episteme, yeah. And he was. I remember the day that I discovered that I was no longer in Obituary. Trevor remembers this day, I'm sure. I showed up and they were in the rehearsal space jamming with Alan, but for some reason Frank was out. I think maybe he spotted me, and so he came out to sort of soften the blow, and that was just who Frank was. It was just like, hey, sorry, man, it's just what it is, and I was like, okay. It is what it is.
Thank you.
But he was just cool like that, and I stayed in touch with him over the years. We had many phone conversations, usually, a few to several months apart, but over the years that adds up, and it was a really rough thing when he passed.
Yeah.
So
All right.
all love to his family and everybody who loved him.
All right, you guys. We're gonna have another quick 3-minute break, and we're gonna come back after 3-4 minutes. So see you all in 3-4 minutes. Thank you very much.
Wanting your soul when you feel like me. Fathers of death metal. Wanting a soul when you be like me. Fathers of death metal. Wanting a soul when you be like me. Fathers of death metal. Wanting a soul when you be like me. Fathers of death metal. Wanting a soul when you be like me. Fathers of death metal. Wanting a soul when you be like me.
I'm so impressed and proud of the alumni of the old school Florida world, but especially in bands like Obituary that really stuck through all the shit times of because there was a period of time in the early 2000s where it was pretty difficult to continue with death metal. And I don't know, you guys, Obituary is just really, I mean, the level that you guys have landed at is just so tremendous. And I think that a lot of us watch and, you know, couldn't happen to a greater bunch of dudes, you know what I mean, to watch the crowd that you're playing for. And I was mentioning, you know, David, and, you know, it's really hard to come from a band that's so well established and to take a version of that band and you know, in many ways make it better and have tremendous success and play festivals around the world, and just everybody, you know, shout out to Rick and going out with, you know, Left to Die, and James is just the, you know, James all over but me and James just did a track together on the on a Greek band, yes, that Dimitri's actually hooked up, right? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Oh, I didn't know whether you can hear me. So anyway, I'm just in closing, I'm proud of my alumni, and I'm proud of where this music has gone. And you know, it's pure survivalism. I mean, it is, you know, we play music in a world that breathes different air. And so it's really, really difficult to have success on the level that we have post 50 years old. So I'm respectful and grateful to my contemporaries and to my position.
Same here, brother. Appreciate it.
Okay, Trevor, you want to comment?
Oh no, yeah, we're all lucky as hell to survive this shit. I mean, like Kelly was saying, even in the late '90s, you know, it was rough. It was rough as hell. I mean, that's why Obituary, we kind of took a hiatus for a little bit, you know, between like '98 and 2003, 4-ish. It was bad. I mean, that's when I did that Catastrophic Side project, and it was rough trying to do that, you know. It was weird, and but I don't know. We got through it all, and somehow death metal just seems like it's getting stronger and stronger in general, you know, across the planet. Crowds are better. There's younger generations coming to see it, you know, like you'll see a fan you met 30 years ago. He's got his grandson with him, you know, shit like that.
Maybe you don't even remember him.
But no, it's cool. Appreciate the love, Kelly. And
no, you know what's cool, Trevor? Like, let me say this, Trevor. Like, there's kids that are 16 years old that are coming to watch Obituary play, and they're looking at you, and you are their Tony Iommi. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I mean, that's you know, the perspective of the influence and the magnitude of your music, of everybody's music. You know, everybody has, you know, we all the things that we dreamed about when we were kids. You know, and I don't think any of us ever dreamt that we'd ever make an impression, but we managed to all these years later. So I always try to look back and I'm like, you know, just, man, how lucky are we to be able to not compromise and still survive? You know, I mean, it's fucking tremendous. And some of us have done so much better than others, but I just have respect for everybody pushing the boulder in the right direction. And I think that, you know, 50 years from now, after we're all long gone, I think that our families and our you know, and young people will keep our spirits alive. And that's kind of a cool thing. It's hard to do. There's a lot of people on this planet. It's really hard to make an impression and leave a mark. So I think that we are a collective bit of gentlemen that should be very grateful. And I feel like we are. The greatest thing about being old.
Guys, I want to ask you, you've been like pioneers in the death metal scene for the Tampa, Florida death metal scene and everything, which has been very influential and everything. But at the same time, we had the European scene, right? We had bands like Bolt Thrower, we had Pestilence, we had all the Dutch death metal bands like Asphyx and so on and so forth. I mean, what, you know, Entombed and so on and so forth. So what do you guys think of the European metal scene? Are there any names that you can name and you thought like, you know, this guy's fucking killer? Like, I'm gonna mention some names like Joe from Bolt Thrower, like Gavin, or like Martin van Druner, who was in Pestilence, or like Tony Choi, who played in Atheist and also in Pestilence, or whoever, musicians, you know, just random names or band names or whatever. You name it. Just gonna leave it up to you. Gonna start randomly with you, Kelly.
It'd be easier to name, to name the European bands that, I mean, there's so many. I mean, our love, even goes to Benediction and Destruction and Creator. I mean, fucking Creator, Jesus. Pleasure to Kill was one of those really important records for us a lot as well. It was like this alternative to Slayer, where it was a little messier, but it was, man, Pleasure to Kill was a sick fucking record. And I don't know, for us, that really, was a big thing. And I mean, God, so many great European bands. I mean, At the Gates, Jesus, I think it's just so the greatest thing about metal, I think, is it's so, it's so non-specific country. Like, I don't know. It's there are styles, but I think we all subscribe to the same philosophy of keep it fucking heavy, keep it interesting. And so yeah, I have just as much love for European metal bands, if not more, than American metal bands. I think Europeans, I have so much respect for the fans in Europe, because they're different than American fans. I think that we can maybe agree. They're more historians. They're more collectible. They collect, they appreciate, they are respect. I don't know. There's just a different level of fan, and also South America is the same way. Just a level of support and respect that you don't always see in America, because America is just shifting through all these different kinds of music. But just tremendous love for European metal, and it's shaped what we did as Atheist, certainly, 100%. My vocal style, I couldn't sing like David Vincent. I didn't have the lows. I didn't, you know what I mean? I never had those low vocals. So to me, when I heard Schmear, I was like, yeah, that's my shit. I'll be like Schmear and Malay, do the high witty vocals. I can't do that guttural shit. Cam Lee, Cam, the early demo days of Cam, I was like, holy shit, sounds like a monster. I had none of those low vocals at all.
Cool, man. Thank you, David. I'm gonna go to you next.
Oh well, I mean, I think any musician that starts off as being a fan, and I'm definitely a fan. I love the stuff.
Still a fan.
I'm thinking about European bands now. I remember when I first heard Entombed's first record, Left Hand Path, and I was thinking, man, this is just a monster.
Yeah, that was badass.
Absolutely
Really,
monster. Yeah,
sounded very, very inspired. And LG just killed him. Well, he killed himself on that record.
R.I.P. LG.
Yeah. Rest in peace, by the way. Well, I keep saying rest in peace. I mean, the older we get, the more folks we have to bury, and it's just I'm kind of bored, to be honest with you. I'm kind of getting sick of it.
Yeah.
But all of us, everybody on this panel is a lifer, and this is what we do. And the fact that I'm still alive is a shock to me. I guess only the good die young, which says probably a lot to me. But,
what are you saying?
It's just I'm thankful to be here, and I guess thinking back in the day, I don't know that I ever really considered the future. I mean, everything was just so right. What's in front of your face and blinders on, nothing else. And in retrospect, it's I'm just super humbled and thankful the fact that all this old stuff that we've done over the years, and I'm speaking about all of us now, is still somehow really relevant. And to Kelly's point about the number of concerts I've played recently. I've been working a lot in 2025. I guess we're 2026 now. The number of shows that we played where there was this whole new contingency of like 16, 17, 18-year-old kids that are, bringing the mosh pit back. And, that's cool. I guess they had good parents that taught them good music, or they rebelled against their parents, and they're listening. Whatever the case is, I'm real thankful for it, and it's definitely an honor and privilege to be able to continue to do what I do, which is make great music.
Just gonna mention one name to you, David, just for purpose. Ball Thrower.
What about them?
What do you think?
Well, I mean, they were label mates. We did some touring together. I mean, I wouldn't say that I was influenced by them at all, but you know, they're doing their thing. In fact, I know that they've had, you know, various members coming in and going. But I want to say I saw them. We played a festival with them. I think it was Hellfest a couple years back. And yeah, I mean, you know, they're still getting it done.
Yeah. Okay. Trevor? European death metal scene.
So, David, you said the album I was thinking of immediately was Left Hand Path. I mean, that album, when I heard that album, I was like, holy hell, these guys are badass. Like, you know, they changed a little bit as time went on, but that album was epic, I thought. And of course, you know, all the shit Tom Fisher did, you know, Hellhammer and Celtic Frost, that was obviously, like we said earlier, a huge influence on my band or whatever. And but yeah, there's a bunch of bands, you know, Destruction, loved that shit when I was in high school listening to that crap, you know. And so good. And to be a friend with Schmear nowadays is even cooler, because like,
oh yeah,
it goes together. We're like two peas in the pod.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, Schmear's awesome.
Yeah, we just did a tour.
He kept me from going to jail in Norway. He was like, Kelly, you cannot have marijuana in Norway. I was like, got it, Schmear. Fucking got it.
Yeah, we just toured with him this past summer. Us, Destruction, us, and Testament. That was a pretty cool tour.
What a tour!
But, that was a good tour, yeah. And the European scene is awesome. You know, in general, like it's always been strong from day one. Seems like the U.S. is catching up a little bit as far as like the crowds. You know, like definitely good shows over here, but Europe's always been there from the get-go. You know, from the early '90s. All right, I'll see you later.
Bye.
But so yeah, love some European metal, man.
Man.
Rick, your turn. European death metal scene. Any names you remember? Something that you can, you know, praise? You're on mute. You're on mute. Oh. You gotta unmute yourself, man. Just like James before.
You're muted.
You're muted. You have to unmute yourself. Yeah.
How's that? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
All right. So you're probably going to hear some dogs barking in the background, but I think the initial question was Florida death metal. That started in Altamont Springs, Florida, with Mantas and Death in 1983 and 84. And as far as European death metal, Bolt Thrower. Excuse me?
Bolt Thrower.
Was I wrong on how the question started? I think
no. You go ahead. You said You said Bolt Thrower, 1984, right? Bolt Thrower, and then?
No, I was saying I think the initial question was about Florida death metal and Tampa.
No, the initial question was about European death metal bands in the, you know, at the same time as the Florida death metal. European death metal bands like Bolt Thrower, like Atheist.
I misunderstood the question. I misunderstood the question. So Florida death metal started in Altamont Springs, by the way.
What are your memories from the European death metal scene? You know, names you can mention.
I misunderstood the conversation or the question. Yeah. Entomb was great. Bolt Thrower, great. Influenced by Massacre. And that's all I got, man. It's cool. European death metal, freaking rule.
Have you followed
death metal, speed metal?
Cool, man. Have you followed the recent stuff of Asphyx, for example, with Martin van Drunen, who was in Pestilence?
No idea. Okay. I listen to Southern rock and Southern rock and freaking classic rock, bro.
All right.
I don't listen to metal.
Okay. Thank you, man. James?
Yeah, you know, my experience with European metal is kind of just informed mostly by the fact that I lived in Europe from 1981, you know, late 1981 to late 1984.
When I was born in 1981.
Right.
Yeah.
So I was there. I was discovering this music because I would skip school and I'd go like downtown Frankfurt or wherever, go down to the Hauptbahnhof area or whatever, and I had a list of German record shops, and I would go around to these record shops, and I'd buy whatever that looked cool, whatever cover looked cool. But I would also buy things, go out looking for things that I saw in Rock Hard and Metal Hammer. And what you got to understand about Rock Hard and Metal Hammer in those early days is that it was only in German. Fortunately, I speak a decent amount of German. But it was also, back then, it was newsprint. It wasn't even like on glossy color paper. Like you'd get a couple color pages, a lot of black and white. And it was like, they were like newspapers. And so I would just look for the ads, and whatever looked cool, I would go find it. So this is how I discovered stuff like Celtic Frost, Hellhammer, Bathory, Venom, Slayer even, because I was in Germany when Slayer came out, when Haunting the Chapel and Show No Mercy and stuff came out. And so I discovered all that stuff there. And, and of course I was discovering the European bands at the exact same time, especially the German ones. So Sodom, Creator, Destruction, those were huge for me. And you mentioned something. You mentioned the band Assassin when you very first introduced me as a band I had been in. Yes, I was in a band in Germany called Assassin very early. It was my very first band ever. It was not the German band Assassin. Those guys were hours away from me, and I didn't know about them when I created a band with my friends and called it Assassin. They were in the Essen area, and we were in the Frankfurt area. But anyway, and my band was all American kids, of U.S. service members. So I was massive into all of that stuff, and that's what I was coming back into the Florida scene with when I arrived back in late 1984 and started going to shows like Nasty Savage and Sabotage and some of the other people's bands on this panel, Death and Executioner / Obituary, Atheist, Ravage / Ravage. I was going to every show that I could. Yeah. All right. That's what I mean. I'm not sure how at what point you changed the name, but I remember that.
That's the Raging Death compilation.
So, but my Kristen, my wife, will kill me if I didn't mention is more contemporary. European bands came out well after I left. Europe myself, which were huge for me, and a couple of people have already mentioned Entombed, Left Hand Path, of course, Dismember, Like an Ever-Flowing Stream,
Dismember, man,
Slaughter of the Soul.
Just like they're open, they're Casket Garden, or all these video clips, just at the time was absolutely fucking amazing.
Yeah. Oh, and even like, dude, the first Dark Throne album was very death metal. It wasn't black
Skin
metal at all.
Father.
Soulside Journey. That album rules. Soulside Journey.
amazing.
They probably hate me for saying that because they embraced the black metal, but I love that album.
Hey, do you know what's important that I forgot to mention is that one thing that American metal bands benefited from that we didn't have in America was European metal press. So in the beginning, the greatest magazines were in Europe. They were featuring, or not featuring, but sort of exposing what was happening in America. There were very few American metal magazine or American magazines at all that sort of were letting everybody in on this new movement. And so kudos to Europe, because a lot of our individual successes really depended on Kerrang and Metal Forces, Metal Hammer. Those were the publications that really went to bat for this music, and they're owed a great deal of credit in spreading that word to American kids, which took a lot longer to get rolling. So shout out to all those editors and writers and
it was like the opposite way around for me, is what you're talking about, like how these guys discovered European bands. I was in Europe at the time, so for me, those were the natural bands for me to discover. They were right there, and so I actually discovered a lot of American and Canadian bands from the European music, metal magazines. It was the other way around, really.
There's proof in the pudding right there.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So I'm gonna slowly gonna close this interview. I'm gonna thank you all so much for this amazing, wonderful opportunity. Thank you so much, guys. I mean, you've been my childhood heroes that I managed to have in my own show. So just gonna read one of the comments, the millions of comments that we had over here. It's gonna be from my friend Vitamin Death. He said, I'm just gonna read this one comment on purpose. He said, the jaw of David Vincent, is bigger than my will to live in 2026. This is my friend Dimitri, same name as me.
Take a good right cross, right?
Yeah. Dimitri's Vitamin Death is his name. He's an amazing guy. He's my
God bless you, Vincent.
He's my co-host in the Greek shows we do every Wednesday. He's an amazing guy. He's taking care of his dad, and he's a guy who has quit his life and everything just to take care of his dad. So best regards to Dimitris. Yeah. Thank you, man, for your amazing comments. He always makes the funny comments. He's the funny guy. So David, Trevor, Rick, James, Kelly, you guys are amazing. I'm so thankful to have you guys in my show. I was 13 years old when I started listening to your music, you guys. I'm fucking 44. I'm an old fart. I know you're not gonna comment on that.
Rock and roll,
man. It's amazing to have you guys.
God bless you in 2026.
Yeah, man, it's just fucking amazing to have you on my show. Thank you so much. This has been another Alders of Metal show. Thank you so much. It's been an amazing honor for me. Wish you a happy new year. Wish you all the best. Next time we're gonna talk when we have news from each and every single one of you guys. We're gonna talk in the future. So wishing you all the best for 2026. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. We're gonna speak together. Stay on the line. We're gonna say good night to everybody. Good night, and see you next time.
Good night, sweetheart. It's time to go.
They're children of the 80s. Yeah, I'll leave you with a question. Who's your favorite band? I'm kidding. I'm just kidding. You don't have to answer that. Cheers. Put you on the spot.
That was great. Hey, when you said all of our names, it was funny because you were like going down the line and you said Rick and James. I went, Rick James, bitch.
Rick James, bitch.
Rick James, bitch.
The order you said it was funny.
That's all right. It's all good.
Charlie Murphy.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
Hey, guys, as we get older, I love all you all, man. I respect you all so much. Thank you for letting us into the scene. And
Kelly.
All
right, fellas.
God bless you.